just Amy and Peter really quick because they're part of our community Constellations core group as well. They're helping us with a lot of stuff. So I'll let them introduce themselves first, then we can move on to the communities if that's okay.
Hi, folks. My name is Peter Nugent, and this is my partner, Amy Flanagan. We are committee members of the Newport Astronomy Club. We're based out here in Newport. We're blow-ins, but we have a great love for the community and for the efforts that are going into the dark sky conservation around here. And we've taken great advantage of the benefits that the Dark Sky Park has been able to provide. Having been around the world a bit, let me tell you that what we have here in terms of pristine natural dark skies really can't be overstated. We have something that's really truly unique here that really deserves to be preserved. My partner and I have both been very keen on kind of bringing awareness to that and sharing our love for the night sky and the sort of the wonders of what that can bring to as many people as we possibly can.
Great. Thanks, Peter and Amy. Georgia, I'm just going to move down this list based on what I see at the top here. We're going to start with Sandra, or no, sorry, Deirdre, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Deirdre Burke. I live in Newport. I live very close to the Mayo Dark Skies Park, and I'm very interested in getting one of the meters because obviously I have Wi-Fi. I live in a very, very dark place, and I'd be very interested in getting more involved with the dark skies. I have met both you, Molly, and Georgia briefly at the Dark Skies Champion course. So I really would love to get more involved.
Great. Thanks so much, Deirdre. All right, next, Sandra.
Hi, Molly. I'm Sandra, Kina Community. We met yesterday Wednesday at the launch. And Kina Community is the East Gateway community to Mayo Dark Sky Park. And that's why our community is interested in this project.
Oh, yeah, thanks so much, Sandra. Move down the list here. Tony.
Hello there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Cool. I'm in Kilmavie, which is a tiny little place in East Mayo. So my job title is the Heritage Coordinator. I'm here just to find out more, really, Molly, because your name popped up in my inbox a month or two ago, and it all sounds quite intriguing. I suppose our particular angle would be tourism and possible events at the Kilcashel Stone Fort, which is a beautifully preserved circular stone fort, which is just 1 kilometre away from here. It's something of a hidden gem. I'm not sure why it's not more well known because it's absolutely gorgeous. And there is some speculation about certain key features of it aligning with things like sunrise and celestial movements. So that could be a really good tie-in for us to boost awareness and boost tourism. So yeah, I'm just generally keen to know more as well.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Sandra. All right. Next we have Annette Mahan.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, Annette Mahan here. I'm the CEO of Moy Valley Resources in Ballina. So we applied, Kevin Loftus is on the call here as well. Kevin highlighted it to us that this was coming up and that we might consider taking part. So we have a number of properties in Ballina that would be good locations for a monitor. And I guess being one of the biggest towns in Mayo, there's definitely a light pollution issue here, and it would be really interesting, I think, for us to take a role in raising awareness around that and helping other people in the town, organisations, community groups, businesses or whatever, in terms of what light pollution is doing. We're located here right on the River Moy. We have Balik Woods right beside us, and so light pollution, could have serious impacts for the wildlife there. And it just really piqued our interest here in terms of what can we do to try and help address, what's going on with light pollution. And having seen what's happened in Newport, we'd just be amazing if we could start doing some of those type of projects here to reduce that light pollution piece. So yeah, delighted to be here.
Great, thanks so much. All right, next we have, I think it is Tom Doyle.
Hi, my name is Tom Doyle and I work in the National Museum of Ireland Country Life, and I work in the education department. And I suppose we had our event there the other day, went really well, and I suppose we wanted to take part as part of the museum, just I suppose as a site where people can meet, and just to become a kind of a partner to Mayo Dark Skies. And I suppose we have a general interest, and I do anyway, definitely in creating more awareness about light pollution. Turla is a heritage town. We have the museum here. But I suppose Castlebar's light is encroaching into Turla. I saw that in the video the other day and on the screen. So again, it's about that kind of creating awareness. We're part of the Greenway. So yeah, I suppose that's really it. And as part of our strategic plan, just to, that we can have events on in the museum that are linked to this topic. Thanks, Molly.
Thanks so much, Tom. All right, and next is Michael from Clogher.
Hello then, Michael Kingdon from Clogher Environmental Group. I think the Dark Sky Initiative is fabulous. Congratulations to everyone that's working hard on it so far. And I just want this area to be involved, and if we can form some kind of partnership between the beautiful area that is the Clogher Bog and what's happening up there in North Mayo. It's fantastic. I'm really excited by this. There's great potential, and yeah, I'm here. Sorry I'm late, by the way.
Oh, don't worry about it. Thanks so much for coming, Michael. All right, next we have, I see Anne's from Carnacone. Not sure if you can unmute yourself, dear, because I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Hi, yes, Anne. I'm from Carnacone Moor Hall, and we want to be part of this Dark Skies initiative. Currently, we don't have any electricity in Moor Hall, but we have colony of the lesser horseshoe bats. So we will be very much involved in getting proper lighting into Moor Hall when it happens, and we're looking forward to working alongside with you.
Great, thanks so much, Anne. Perfect. And next I see Sabrina. Oh, here, I'll unmute you actually, or no, it'll ask you to unmute. Let's see. Yeah, you'll have to unmute yourself. There we go. Perfect.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, lovely stuff. Hi, so Sandra was already on, so we're in Keena Heartsip community. So really our area involves low-lying blanket bog and high hills. So we are in with the Nathan Range and the National Wildlife Park. A lot of the landowners here would have commonage on the lands here. So it'd be just interesting from a farming perspective how people can get involved and what we can do to help also, because it is very interesting. We have a lot of wildlife, we have a lot of nature all around us. We have the source of the River Deal, we have lots of lakes. So there's a multitude of things we could do. So we're very, anything we can do, we will try. So thanks on behalf of myself and Sandra.
Yeah, thanks so much, Sabrina.
You're welcome.
All right. I might murder your name here, but Ultan? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm sorry, Hughes. You're next, if you can hear me. And if you're talking, you might still be on mute. Not sure if they're readily available. Oh, there we go. Perfect.
Okay.
Now we can hear you.
You were talking to Anne there earlier on from the Carnacone Community Development Association. There's a lot of we're in an SAC, especially area conservation, and we'd just like to know a bit about this. There's a lot of history and heritage in the area, and we'd like to protect and preserve all of what's going on there. And we'd like to be a bit more aware of the dark skies thing. So we'll do what we can and tune in with you later on anyway. Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And thanks for coming to the event the other day as well.
Okay.
All right. Next up is Kevin Loftus.
Hi, I'll just turn on my video for a sec. Yeah, so I'm Kevin Loftus. Annette mentioned already. We're collaborating with Moy Valley Resources on this project, so I'm a member of the group there. There's also a second potential location in Ballina, which is the Ballina Sensory Park, and we'll be collaborating with the community cleanup group there on seeing how we can reduce light pollution, also with Carem. So yeah, very interested to hear next steps. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Kevin. Next here is, I think, Karen Needham. The only person that we haven't.
Yeah, hi folks.
Great.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi everybody, I am Karen Needham and I am part of the Ahagara Heritage Group, and I guess I'm here just to learn more about the potential for Ahagara being a dark sky area. We are lucky enough to have beautiful scenery and quite a hilly area, hilly and valleys, and on the top of the hill here is one of the most spots that you often see people viewing the dark skies, and it's beautiful. So interested to learn more.
Thank you so much. I also see Ahagawar Tidy Towns, but I'm not sure if that's the same or if that's someone else also logged in. So if you want, you can introduce yourself.
Hello, that's me, that's Marlene. I just put Ahagawar Tidy Towns. As Karen said, we're just interested to learn more because Ahagawar village itself is steeped in heritage, and there is an area, like Karen explained, just outside the village that you can look right out onto Clew Bay, and it's a stop off for many people, especially when the Northern Lights were visible. You have a lot of people going there for photos and stuff, so it's something that we'd like to look further into, and we'd really look forward to being part of this initiative.
Great, thank you so much. All right, is there anyone that I have missed on this list here? I don't think so. If I have, feel free to speak up. But if not, we'll keep moving. It looks like Georgia just put something in the chat as well.
Yeah, I don't hold a whole lot of hope on my technology at the moment, but if you get a chance and you can maybe have a look at that as we're chatting, there's a link there for the Mentimeter, and we're just trying to build this, the introductions we've just done, but also to get a few insights from you guys as to what's important to you and where you're based. And also there's a question in there, if it works okay, on what we can do for you. So we'll discuss that during the course of this morning. But I think maybe if we hand over to Kerem, who can give a little oversight on the lighting perspective. And just to give you guys a bit of background, how we've structured this, the project is funded by the Heritage Council, which enables us to work with Kerem, who's been, well, I do sing his praises a lot, but for good reasons. So he's worked with us very closely on the Newport project, from the design, from the concept, and to bring that to reality. And where we are with Newport at the moment is, yes, we have the church that a lot of people have seen, and has won as multi-award winning at this stage. The viaduct bridge is now in the hands of Mayo County Council, so we do expect the lighting to be redone on that fairly soon. I don't want to say exactly when because it's out of our hands, and it has been a long process, including heritage approvals and lots of other things that we perhaps didn't appreciate when we started on that journey. But we will be applying for Newport to be a dark sky friendly town, and that's probably our first target. And by doing that, it gives us something that's replicable for other places to have a look at, to put a master lighting plan together to see how we can protect dark skies, but also to make sure that the lighting is appropriate for the community to use at night and to feel safe and comfortable, and all the other concerns that people may have with lighting. So with that in mind, Kerem, as I said, has worked very closely with us. So I think getting a few of his insights, we've asked him to look at the different communities involved in this project and to see what's important and where we can bring the beauty of dark skies, but also, and I was listening to some of the comments there earlier about light pollution issues. That makes me really, I suppose, inspired, because it's all very well if we have a dark sky already, we have to protect it. That's one thing, but if you don't, you can still work towards making it better and improving it, and that is a win-win for everyone, for human well-being, for biodiversity, nature, and for tourism, of course. So I think with that in mind, maybe Kerem, if you want to say a few words about the kind of work that you'll be doing on this and the templates that you're working with for the communities, that would be cool.
Thanks. So as Georgia explained, we've been very lucky to work with Mayo Dark Skies Group, and we have very vested interest in Mayo's success in becoming the first dark sky reserve in a greater context of Ireland. We have only 2 dark sky destinations. That's not because we don't have significant or high quality dark skies. It's just it's a matter of leading up to the process of submitting an application and putting all the framework in place. So Mayo has been very strategic in many ways. We're also producing the Mayo anti-light pollution policy with the Mayo County Council, which is very unique piece of work. All counties would have street lighting policies, but actually looking at the light pollution as a whole through a very broad spectrum is something that is a bit rare in this day and age. So in many ways, Mayo is ahead of the curve, leading this. So we're very everybody's gearing up towards making Mayo the first dark sky county. And as some of you guys mentioned, and it's there is a context-specific situation going on, as in there are some towns that are causing light pollution, and there's also a very dark rural setup. There are lots of towns. Some of them don't even have lighting, or some of them actually have no issues caused by private lighting or street lighting. We know the common, the usual suspects are, Ballina, Castlebar, Castlemorse, and Westport, and some of those towns actually are punching above their weight in terms of producing light pollution. Sorry, Claremorse, I'll only share my screen for a second. So one of the pieces of work that we've done in the past with the Mayo Dark Skies and Dark Sky Ireland is that we produced an environmentally friendly lighting guide, which we thought that it became a very powerful method in terms of summarizing this issue and communicating this problem in an accessible manner. And we thought maybe for the community constellations, we implement and follow the same approach. But as much as we're giving some, general information about light pollution, we can also have a bit more tailored information specific to the circumstances of the communities that we're working with. As you've heard from some of you guys, some of you are interested in the heritage aspect of it, some of you are interested in the tourism aspect of it. Some of you don't have even street lighting. Some of you are in a quite bright lit city context. So needless to say, whoever signed up for this grant, who's taking part in these consultations, they will receive information that is a bit more bespoke made for their needs. Otherwise, we'll have to make assumptions based on your circumstances. So I'm just going to share my screen for 2 seconds, just to give you a flavor of what we've done in the past. And so this is the this is the environmentally friendly lighting, guys. And it's a document that just basically breaks down, you know, why light pollution is an issue and the ways to mitigate it. And it's very concise, and it tries to talk about, you know, issues, why light pollution is caused, what's the impact that it has, socioeconomic, ecological, physiological. So it just basically breaks down the impacts of it. But it gives you a flavor of what is there in Ireland, or you know, in the Irish context, what are there to protect, and what is there to improve. And there are some simple methods to mitigate light pollution. It's just basically we start with questioning whether light is necessary, use warm color temperature, because cooler color temperatures tend to travel further in the atmosphere, causing more sky glow and light pollution. Eliminate glare, angle it down, keep the datum level low, mounting height low, so you can contain the light. Obviously, higher you go, you got greater coverage, but it's lower you are, the spill is contained. Dim it or switch it off when you don't need it. It just could be a matter of like even having an idea about what the light is going to do after you know, curfew or late night hours where there's no footfall or reduced activity, and keeping light away from wildlife. Obviously, it was mentioned that, like, you know, Alton said that they're in an SAC, so ideally we don't want to have any light intrude into these areas. So it's got some information in terms of, like, you know, don'ts and do's and what would be acceptable. And it's got some information about, like, you know, what's bad lighting, good lighting. Now, our document won't be as, you know, expanding on these as much. But it's a good document in sort of breaking down, understanding light, the technicality of light as well. And these are some of the project examples. This is what we've done in Newport. So the first phase of Newport project was the St. Patrick's Church. It was floodlit with these LED floodlights, and we've just basically tried to articulate, you know, emphasize parts of the architecture in order to create a strong nighttime image, but balancing the vertical and the horizontal by creating an experience in and around the site. So it was not just about, you know, floodlighting the facade, but actually creating a nice amenity that is pleasant to be around. And this project reduced the carbon emissions by 2 tons. This is 1 ton because of the exterior lighting, another 1 ton with the interior lighting relamping, and improved the visual ergonomy. As you can see, the difference it makes when you remove glare. You can actually operate with lower levels of light because your vision is not trying to adjust to the brightest point and the darkest point. And actually, you'd be surprised how little levels of light you require to see where you're going when your vision is not attacked by glare. This is another project in Wales, but it was the first dark sky community in Wales. Just to give you an idea about, like, you know, we had only control over street lighting in this. There was no architectural lighting, and literally improving the street lighting, you know, changing it from cool white to warm LEDs with less glare, and implementing some dimming regimes, etc. We were able to reduce the carbon emissions by 4.5 tons, and this project became the first dark sky community in Wales. It's important because 20% of Wales is under protected dark skies, but this was the first community, first living, breathing town. It wasn't a park or a sanctuary. because that's the kind of precedent which is harder to establish sometimes, because it's a functioning town, that it can also be dark sky friendly. Now I'm gonna very briefly share a storyboard or like a draft of what we're doing. Usually I wouldn't show stuff before it's ready, so take it with a pinch of salt, but it just gives you a flavor of what we're trying to do here. And that might help the conversation afterwards, in terms of we might actually have another round table in terms of what you would want to be included or excluded in this is. So this is a very draft, very, very early draft of the poster. So what we're planning to do is that we will have one A1 poster. So in this particular case, we were looking at Kilmovie. And we will create one, image that will promote the idea of dark skies, and that'll be available for use for that community later on whenever they want to produce promotional material. You'll be allowed to use it wherever you wish, as long as you're promoting dark skies. And there'll be one, outcome of this project that as in terms of visual material illustration that can be used. We'll be showing the ground map of constellation of areas, and we'll be also highlighting which particular town we're talking about in this context. What we are also thinking about looking at the overall light pollution map. Sorry about the roughness of this, is like, looking at the Mayo context comparison to looking at where Kilmovie is located in the closer setup. And I was interested in Kilmovie's context, looking at the streetlights. There are only few streetlights, and I was trying to have an understanding of the overall trend of light pollution in the past. So what we're thinking of is like also these posters need to be a bit more educational. So we were going to give an idea about how to assess the quality of dark skies and where we currently sit in this context. So it'll be a very rough idea. We can't be too specific because the way only to be precise with that information is using the sky quality meters. Hence the reason we're trying to distribute them to you guys so we can actually have a more specific data to work with. But we can have a rough idea. On top of that, obviously we will have our principles to talk about what is important and what are the measures, because we want this to be also educational material, not only for us, for people who are actually seeing this later down, like people who are actually reviewing this information. It'll be important for them to know what these dark sky principles are. There will be some information about the impacts, but we won't expand on them too much. It's just about we want to provide some level of information about understanding what light pollution, how it disenfranchises people, what impacts it might have. There might be some elements of it in terms of how to find, the Polaris and the Ursa Minor, Ursa Major, the Big Dipper and the Small Dipper, just to give a bit more, astronomical information in terms of creating or facilitating a bit deeper connection with the dark skies, and could be a fun way of an entry to the knowledge and love of astronomy. So this is a very, very broad brush strokes of where this is going to be going. But there's definitely room for influencing this further and customizing this further. You don't ask, you don't get. So that's why we're here. But after this, there will be a kind of A5 version of this, like a leaflet. That will basically summarize the information here. It will reduce it down to a kind of leaflet version that would be easy to pass on, whether digitally or whether it's as a print format, can be handed over to people or to businesses whenever there's, events. We find them to be very successful in terms of very quickly conveying the issue to the average, audience. So in essence, that's what we're working on at this point in time, and we'd be curious to hear your thoughts so we can take it into consideration.
Thanks, Karen. We might I'll remove that spotlight then so we can all see each other. Yeah. Maybe we'll get some feedback, and then we might hear from Molly about meters, but it'd be interesting to get a bit of feedback from everyone in the meantime, just on Karim's concepts there and how you think it might apply to your local area. Maybe Kilmo V first, seeing as you were up there featured, to see if he had any thoughts on how that's taking shape.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thanks very much for doing that. Beautiful poster. Really look forward to using that in some designs. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not sure I have much more to add, but it's definitely very interesting.
Yeah.
That's great feedback. It's good to know that we're in the right path. Thanks.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you.
So the idea with all of these, once they're collected, as Karen's referring to them as posters, or and there'll be smaller versions as well, but we will put them into an interpretation plan which will be part of the Heritage Council deliverables. But then that means that you're part of that collective. So when we're promoting Mayo as a destination for dark skies, then this is where the constellation idea will kick in, and where I think we've mentioned in the publicity for this, we'll create a shape that will form the icon. So it'll be a nice little way of networking between us, so that we have a future. It has a bit of a legacy, and we can have future events, so that you're, I suppose, our key ambassadors as well for the project, for future training and ideas to how we can work together collectively to improve Mayo as one county for dark skies. So yeah, any other thoughts on the way that's taking shape, or questions, I suppose, more than thoughts? We'll need some information from you in terms of photographic imagery. We'll need, as I said, I'll hand over to Molly in a second about the meters to take some recordings, and that's quite a long-term thing. That won't, the data from the recordings won't go into this necessarily, but just to know that you will be taking data to show how dark your skies are, or other challenges that need to be worked on, and to try and find out where those maybe problem areas are that we can start to tackle. But yeah, any questions or suggestions even?
Could I ask a quick question there, just to you were saying there about that poster maybe being designed to an A1 size. So are you thinking that when these are all designed, that we get them as a printed version and put them somewhere for people to actually locate the site? Is that going to be the piece that brings people to where the light meters are, or are these, like, why are we looking at A1 size? What's the idea behind that? I suppose I'm wondering about, like, I can understand the A5 is great because you can hand those out or leave them available for people to access them. And then I suppose the other part is, are we going to have some kind of a QR code or something on those, so that we're directing people towards the right information? So if we're piquing people's interest, that they are actually being linked on to something else after they've seen that.
Right. I'll take that. So yes, yes, on the QR codes, the A1 size. I mean, it's we tried to pick a size that we thought, if people do want to have, community hall and they want to put something up, that would be a good size to aim for. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to print it in A1. For the interpretation, some of them might become smaller interpretation panels. So I think there's a bit of wriggle room there on how we can. I hope I'm not overstepping the mark there, Karim. It's really your bag on the sizing and how they come out. But yeah, that's the idea, that we can make them either interpretation panels or posters, but that you have something to refer to. And absolutely, yeah, the information will be available through QR.
Yeah, QR code is a good shout. Yes, it will be, and also an A1 poster, a digitally created poster. Can be printed as A3. It would still be legible. It wouldn't be legible at A4. That would be too small. But again, there's room for interpretation in terms of how you want to use it, and whether it's a matter of creating a QR that people can scan, and it takes you to that A1 poster online. So there's definitely room for that. But again, I think we should create QR codes and make this live somewhere online as well. It's a good idea. Also, Georgia, I think it's for internal use. What came out of this is interesting. Is like a thing that we should also have a reference to, the importance of dark skies from the, environmental, tourism, heritage perspectives, etc. Sometimes we live in our heads a lot, and this is something we talk about a lot, but sometimes it's very easy for us to miss because we're like a bit tunnel visioned at the moment. So maybe it's important to also talk about these things, in the poster as well, so people who are reading this, because we have a nice, interesting mix. Looking at the comments here, I think we would benefit from that as well.
Hey, well, maybe Molly, is anyone going to say something there? Was I?
There's a question from Sandra in the chat. Will posters be outdoor or indoor posters? And I think kind of hitting back on what Krem and Georgia had said, hopefully I'm not speaking out of turn here, really depends on the individual community. So it depends. Do you have community boards that are outside that you can put posters inside of? Some communities might want to print it and then get it laminated to put outside. It's really up to each individual community. Some other creative ways that was mentioned also is like being able to put it up on your websites and things like that. So the image that you're getting can be used in a lot of different ways. You'll have those A5 handouts, but then depending really on how the communities want to display that information, it really will be up to you. So I hope that I answered that question correctly.
Am I also right to say that essentially we're just giving you the tools? We're not printing them out for you. You guys are deciding how you want to exhibit them. So it's totally up to you if you want to print the A1 version, put it up there in this particular place, whether it's indoors, outdoors, whether you want to go heavy with the leaflets, etc., and QR codes, whatnot. So we won't be necessarily printing the physical material, but we will be preparing all the digital toolkit that you require to basically disseminate information, if that makes sense.
Perfect. Thanks. Yeah, that's definitely a good way to say it, Krem. Does anybody have any questions about that? Or does everybody feel pretty good about it so far? Perfect. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat if we don't get to them right away, and then we can kind of revert back to those. But I'll just go ahead and review the meters. So as you all know, originally when we had put out the information for the applications, we had said we're looking for 10 communities to house these meters and to receive interpretive design. But we very excitingly got 19, I think it's actually up to 20 communities now that have reached out to us and said that they wanted to be involved, and we didn't want to turn anyone away. So Karem has agreed to obviously create these interpretive designs for all of these communities. But the only difference here is that we still only have funding for 10 meters. So not every community will receive a meter, at least right now. So we have those 10 meters at the moment. And the communities that we have listed for those meters, I'm just going to read them off really quick, would be the Clawherbog, Solace in Belmullet, Mulrenny Irish Goat Center, Kilmavie, Turlock Museum, the Moy Valley Resources, I think that's the correct name, Inishturk Island, Clare Island, Lewisburg, and Westport with Leave No Trace. And I think those are the 10 communities that we've selected. And then Deirdre, I think we already had a meter set aside for you for that area from the Mayo Dark Sky Park. So these meters currently are being funded through the Heritage Project, these 10 meters. And then we also have meters from the Mayo Dark Sky Park that are a separate kind of entity, but will be brought in. So Deirdre, I believe I do have one for you for your area as well. So just to clear that up, because I had a couple questions come up at the Community Constellations launch the other day. I think everybody kind of thought they were getting meters, but I just wanted to kind of say, we only have those 10 so far, but we still want to work with you as communities, and we can still, start looking to that in the future. We're hoping that when these meters go out, they'll stay in the spots that they're in. And these meters, so maybe I'll share my screen actually to, let's see, share screen, share, and I can just pull up what these meters look like. So this is the lovely little test photometer quick guide that will be sent out to the different communities. And this is what the meter looks like. So this is the test W meter. And what it is doing is it's measuring the level of darkness in an area. And so the thing about these meters is they need consistent Wi-Fi and they need consistent electricity. So what's lovely about these is that they're downloading all of the data and they're converting it kind of into a very easily read graph. And anybody in the world can, as long as they have the name of this meter. So each meter has its own individual name. So for example, it'd be like test 1, 2, 3, 4. You're able to type that into the website and you can actually see that data in real time, which is kind of great for you to be able to kind of see where you're at, where you're headed as far as level of darkness goes. So it does have a mounting bracket and it has a USB plug so that we can just plug it into even any mobile charger that has those USB plugs, which we will provide for each of those 10 locations. So some things to think about would be consistent Wi-Fi and electricity for those areas that are receiving the test meters. And then of course, if you're hoping to have one in the future, those are things to think about, is that you would definitely need those two things in order for that to work. So I'll be working with the communities on putting those meters up. We already, Turlock has one. They're working with their electrician now to put that up. And I think that's pretty much it on the meter front, unless Georgia, you have anything more to kind of hit on that I might have missed.
Well, just to say, I've just shared a link there so you can see the dashboard. It's a research project in Spain that came up with the design for these meters, and there's different types of them. So as Molly's elaborated, the ones we have require power and Wi-Fi. But you'll be able to see through that link how there's only 2 in operation at the moment in Ireland. There's 3 meters present and one's just not working. So if you get a chance to look at the map, you'll see the green ones are in operation and the red ones have something going wrong, either power or Wi-Fi. But they're all over the world. So we're hoping that Mayo will build a very strong picture through our monitoring network, which goes directly into science for global research. So it is a very useful tool for future observations of dark skies and light pollution. And what was I going to say there? Oh, yes, what we might be. Yeah, thank you. Thanks. Nice one,
Just to show you guys kind of what George was talking about. If you go to the link, this is kind of what you see. So this is Ireland currently. We have those 2 test meters out so far. And as Georgia said, there's different types of meters. We have nearly 11 of our more remote meters that require just battery packs. Those are in like PVC tubes around the national park. So there's different types of meters. These ones in particular that we're giving to you are the ones that you see on the map here. So if you even zoom out, you can kind of see around the world what that looks like. But ours is really going to get beefed up after this project. So
Molly, just to drill in a bit further while you're on that screen, can you go back to the Mayo ones and just click on either one, that one, and you see the stars. Click on that link there. Okay, so this is what the data looks like, which is a bit nerdy. It's great though, but it shows, it monitors the weather and it shows the clear nights that we have or not, which obviously we don't have that many when you compare to places like Spain. But every night you'll be able to see what your reading is. So over the last couple of nights here, so our maximum, that figure there, just scroll up a little bit, Molly. No, sorry, the other way. Scroll down maybe. Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so our maximum was 21.55. So for an urban area, anything over 21 in terms of reading is not bad at all. Once it gets very high, the super dark gold here, you're looking for 21.7. But once it goes over 22, which you'll notice from time to time in Ireland, that means it's just cloudy. So clouds cut out starlight. So that's one of the reasons why people hear some boastful astronomers saying, oh, I got a reading of 22.5. Well, that just means they had full cloud cover, not that it's particularly naturally dark. Yeah, so there's a lot of data that is picked up on these, which is very exciting. It means we don't have to do anything with it. But there are other types of meters. So for those of you that we can't get a meter out in the initial batch, we may be able to get some of the manual type of meters. So at least you could be recording if that's what you want to do, and we'll might take a little bit longer, but we can get something to you. So don't feel left out in any way. We really want you to be monitoring. We really want you to be involved in actively taking measurements. So it's just to know that we only had a budget at the initial outset for these 10, but we'll work with you on getting more out there as the more the merrier for sure. Any yeah, and maybe any questions on that we can.
Just wondering, this might not be something that the communities have thought about, but if is there a possibility to add to the posters and the handouts and stuff little QR codes that link that specific community's meter as well, just to tie that in as well?
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Yep. Add to the Nerd Fest, absolutely. Michael's got his hand up there, so like shoot, fire away.
Yeah, will it be possible to keep a record of all this data so that we'll be able to show the community what progress is being made?
Yep, they're all downloading. So those particular meters have date ranges, so you can drill down. You can do the last 6 months, the last night. You can set a date period, and you can download it into Excel and keep a record of it. Absolutely. Yep. Okay.
Can I ask a couple of questions? Sabrina, you mentioned farming, for example. Would you say that if your interpretation poster had some specific references to industrial or farming complexes and their lighting, in terms of do's and don'ts, would that be of any benefit to you?
Michael, sorry, I'm just getting used to the unmute and mute button. I mean, Keena's a very, very large area, so I'm kind of speaking quite broadly because I'm kind of on the lower bogland, and as for other people would be on the higher farming areas, lake, mountains. So it kind of differs for people. I know that we would have a lot of flooding through the year, so so land can be accessible and not accessible for some parts, and there's a lot of things that come with that as well. But from, most of sort of October, weather can be really nice, and the skies are quite clear. It's very, very clear. I mean, you can see so much. Like, we sit here in the living room and we just see everything so clearly. Even the space station can be seen. So just out of all them little bits alone, I mean, it's the lighting. Like, we're in an FAC's area. We have to be careful and mindful always. So that would be something maybe to talk about with, you have Creelcha, you have the farm advisors, Chagat. I think if you could tie in there just to make more, I suppose, the farming community aware of it would be great, because it's the misunderstanding. Can people see? What can they do? Because it's just the lack of knowledge. I think people need the knowledge to know how they can help. And people are quite interested, because years ago, this is how people used to get home, by the lights been so bright in the sky, etc. So there's heritage, there's culture all along with it. So I think if people knew more, it's brilliant. Because we have Altnabrucky, we have lots of hikers, we have lots of people more than ever that are cycling on the roads. We had there 2 or 3 weeks ago 15 German hikers that came, and they were in our field and they were going through Altnabrucky. There is mindless opportunities there, especially from a tourism point as well. So if tourism and farming could kick together, it would be excellent. Yeah.
Do you have a lot of farming happening around in Keena?
Yeah, it would be. It'd be mostly sheep farming. So that would be it. And I suppose there's different schemes now and everything. So there's acre schemes that are available where there's lots of different changes done to the land and been untouched land as well. You know, you have the corncrake and Belmullet, we've bats here, we have foxes, badgers, pine martens, you name it, and deer. So there's a lot.
So
Okay.
we just put a link in. We have just started a project with Acres West called Rural Restorative Lighting, which we worked with Karim a while ago to get some recommendations for light changes through that scheme. So it's very new. The department have only just approved it. So I've just popped the link into the chat there. But that would be a very good way of encouraging the farmers particularly in the Nathan area for light changes to make them more compliant with dark sky friendly lighting.
Yeah. And sorry, I couldn't pick up the name. Muro was the town. How do you pronounce that? Because I was looking at the sheet, I couldn't locate you. And you were saying that the town is not lit at the moment, but there might be street lighting that might be introduced soon.
You're talking about Carnacone, Karim, or are you talking about a different area?
I don't know. I took it as Anne was connecting through her mobile phone.
Oh yeah, that's Carnacone. I think that she's off, but I believe there's still one person on from Carnacone if they wanna pop in.
Oldtown was the other one.
Oldtown, okay.
Carnacone. Okay, cool. Look, could be interesting if there was a street lighting to be introduced in a place to get it done right from get-go. Could be a great opportunity for all of us. It's a great precedent, so I wouldn't mind, trying to understand a bit more about that. That's the kind of precedent we're looking for.
I believe they just unmuted, so yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
It's
Sorry, go ahead.
Carnacone, the village itself it has street lighting, but some of the outlying areas like Moore Hall and that area, it doesn't even have electricity. It's forestry and historical house and stuff like that there around Moore Hall. So there's not much power there, but Tower Hill as well. It's a woodland area. It's old houses and things like that there, historical houses there. So I don't know whether they have any interest here or not, but maybe some of the people that are involved in doing the street lighting might be a good idea to get in touch with, like Electric Skyline, that they're in charge of nearly all the street lighting, I think, in the county or other counties. So
you have the Lesser Horseshoe Bat, of course, in Moore Hall there. So I think that would be a good feature for your sites. It's so nearby, and it's such an interest point and stronghold for conservation.
There's a few habitats for there, I think, around Moore Hall and Tower Hill and Ballintubber and all that area, into Ballinrobe again, Okay.
So, yeah, perfect. Thanks. So Moore Hall, I mean, Anne was saying Moore Hall will have street lighting eventually. It doesn't have at the moment. So maybe that's something that we work with Electric Skyline. I mean, because they're the appointed contractor for Mayo County Council. So we might explore if there's an opportunity. If we know that there will be street lighting proposed for an area, we might try to get in touch with them ahead of the time and see if there's any chance of getting dark sky friendly lighting to be implemented.
The only place they put lighting that's very sensitive area, Karen, the only place they put lighting on Moore Hall is the car park. I don't think, is there already lighting in that car park?
No, there isn't. There's no power there.
Yeah, no, I don't think they'll put, I don't think they've got permission to put any lighting on that site because the Lesser Horseshoe Bat is such a stronghold there. It's one of the main places in the country. So I'm sure that wouldn't. But the nearby village of Carnacone, and I think your lighting is now 3,000 Kelvin. There was an estate done fairly recently, the best of my knowledge.
That's right, yeah. There's a new housing development there, yeah.
So I think that went in with 3,000 Kelvin, and it went in before we had a chance to, I suppose, intervene. So we might just look at, maybe it could get dimming profiles done to make it a little less bright, with local support if there was an interest there.
What's the waiting room? Sorry. Oh.
Karen, is it worth me sharing a little bit about the night lights project for taking readings? Molly, have you mentioned this already to anyone? No,
I don't think so. No, go ahead.
That's okay. We've collaborated with a German research team for a project called Night Lights, and the app for that was developed by them, but we have it now in Ireland, as in through some of the universities here. So we're initially going to work with the university campuses to look at creating dark sky friendly lighting on campus. But the tool itself is very useful for doing very short surveys in small places. So that it's ideal. I've done a couple of surveys in Newport and on campus in Galway. So I might just let me just see if we've got any more success here on my my sharing. And if so, let's have a look if I've got the right window open even. All right. Okay. No, my screen sharing is not working. Okay, so I will pop that link in the chat in a moment. But what I would encourage you to do, if you have a chance, there's a 20-minute tutorial, but have a look at it. And certainly as the darker evenings come in, we might ask you to buddy up maybe in a community group and just do a walk of maybe a couple of 100 meters in your locality, and you just literally observe the lights that are on and what color they are and what type of light they are, and the tutorial will explain the different types of light. But it's a very good way of us getting a handle on what's already on the ground and where, you know, we could maybe help with some changes or recommendations for some changes. So yeah, apologies, I can't seem to share anything today. But
share it in the chat. I can share my screen, Georgia, if you want.
Yeah, okay, let's see if we can do that instead then, Molly. Good idea. So here we come. Chat. Perfect. So it's all under Lichtnachter. So I'm learning that's night lights. No surprises there. So it should come up with a map.
What did I just do? Oh, there it is. Sorry, hold on 1 second. Here we go.
So if you just go next through all those, you don't need to do anything. Okay. So, and also, do you see the bottom right there? There's a little compass. Pop there, click the compass. And it should bring us to nearer where we are. Or you can drag the screen, actually. That might be easier to show where we are.
There we go.
Yeah, so you can
see it okay?
Yeah, just drill in a little bit so you can see there's not that many surveys undertaken at the moment, but it should allow you to show some of the transects that we've done in say Newport or Westport. I think there's a
transects for Westport.
Yeah, so I think it lets you click on them on the little lines. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. More details, so you can record a survey. See if it shows you more details there, so we can explain a little bit more.
Oh, great.
It's just somebody who walked the. I think that was actually Benjamin who did from the Geopark, who did a little survey for us down at the harbour. So it's very limited. We don't want lots of long walks, so it's very user friendly. Oh, that's what I'm getting at. Yeah, the street lights. So if you scroll down there, yeah. So you see what Ben's observed is 3 street lights. How are they shielded? Are they white? Are they orange? What color are they? Full cutoff means that they're LEDs that are flat and that there's no light protruding around the sides. But the tutorial will give you a very quick training understanding of what we're looking for in the survey. And that, again, going back to Michael's question on downloading data and showing how changes are being made, you can download that data. And it actually, again, contributes to global research. So there was an article published last month about it and about the impact of showing what this has proved, that actually streetlights are not the #1 source of light pollution in Central Europe. They might still be here in Ireland because we have a different setup and our streetlights don't go off, whereas a lot of the European ones do. But it does start to give us an indication of where the main sources of light pollution are coming from. And surprisingly, you can see there 20 private windows. A lot of private windows are left without blinds, curtains, etc. And an awful lot of light comes out through that source of unshielded light. So it's educational as well as useful data. Okay, that's all I have to say on that.
Can we get all the links from this chat, please? No problem. I will copy all of these into an email for all of you.
Okay,
I'll put it all in the same email so that it's easier to find.
Thanks, Molly.
No
so
problem.
I guess next steps, in terms of this project, it needs to be finished mid-November. Now, it doesn't mean that everything's going to end by then. We'll only be getting going in terms of the monitoring. So it means we need to have installed the meters that we have by then. It means that Karen will have to have done the interpretation pieces by then. So in terms of next steps, and Karen, you might have a better idea of what time you need in terms of contacting or allowing people to come to you with information and photographs of their area and how we collate those. Do you want to maybe say a few words about that?
It'd be great to have some contextual information. Photos of the current lighting condition at night would be great in terms of painting the picture. What are we dealing with here? Also, if you could have a think about this after this call, and let us know if there's any specific issues that you'd like us to look at, specific to your context and circumstances, whether if it's to really put into context, like, dealing with private lighting or industrial lighting is very different than dealing with street lighting. One of them is provided by the authority, one of them is just basically, more private, if you see what I mean. Would like to, if you're experiencing a particular issues, would like to target those. So it might be helpful, come back to us within the next couple of weeks, maybe let's say next 2 weeks, if you have any particular concerns that we should take into consideration. And then if you could come back to us by, let's say, latest maybe mid to third week of September with information, context specific photographic information showing what's happening with the nighttime situation, that'd be really helpful. So it might take a night walk. It might be actually helpful. That might actually help you to reconsider some of the things about, looking at the things from a different perspective. But it's usually really helpful because we might read different stuff from your photos. And sometimes it's really helpful in terms of framing the situation and understanding all the variables. So apart from that, we can always get some information remotely, as you saw. And they won't be very specific, but it gives us a rough idea. So what we want to do is take this opportunity to be as specific as possible. I see the question. No, it doesn't need to be a pro. Just with your mobile phone, it can be rough and ready. Just just some series of images showing the current lighting situation. And let's say you live in a dark context where you don't have any street lighting nearby. What you might do is then maybe go to a vantage point, if you can, to show the nearby threats in and around the area. That might be helpful as well. But I'm sure you won't run out of lighting related issues in the vicinity.
I will also, for those of you that are maybe a little more tech savvy, I'll set up a drive that you can upload your photos to. For those of you that might not be as tech savvy, you can also email them if you'd like, and I'll add them to the drive. That way Krem has them all in one area for him to go through. So if you email him along, we can put him in there as well.
I was just thinking we should probably try and have some sort of social gathering, maybe during the festival week, or Alan, and there's time enough to think ahead for that. So for anyone that doesn't know about Alan, there's a conference coming to Westport on the 28th of October until the 31st of October. Now it's quite heavy duty, so I'm not saying come to the whole thing, but we'll try and perhaps have a little get together at some point where we can invite you along, maybe to one of the receptions or one of the events, so that you can see the kind of work going on there, and that leads into the Dark Sky Festival as well. So it'd be nice to maybe get a gathering of constellation representatives at that stage. So maybe keep your diary, keep that in mind for your diaries, and we'll be in touch about that.
Sounds great. Yeah, that'd be nice. We had a question about who to send the photos to. So just to recap that, I'll create a link to like a Google Drive. And if you want, you can upload them there. If you feel like that's like you're not tech savvy for that, you can also just email them to Krem and myself.
And likewise for your site-specific observations or comments about the lighting, you can email me or Molly, and this can come in drips and drabs. You don't have to, have a collected thought about this. Just let us know what we should pay attention to.
And I will, I'm putting this in the chat as well, but I'll send this information, links that we talked about, lighting guides, things like that, and then who to send what to in a follow-up email after this call, just so that you can refer to that if you have any particular questions about who you're sending stuff to. But really, it's me and Krem. So that's just to make it simple for everybody. If you just put us both on there, it'll get to where it needs to go. And then for those of you, the 10 communities with the meters, I will reach out to you directly with that. So you'll probably receive an email from me in regards to that. I'll probably try setting up time in September to come and help you get those meters set up. So start just thinking about proximity to a Wi-Fi signal, because we definitely want strong Wi-Fi. And then also it will need to be mounted probably on some type of roof, but the cord will need to come down into either a window or something like that where it can be plugged in, or some sort of protected outdoor socket. So just start thinking about those ideas in your head. Any other questions, concerns?
I might just pop in that Menti chat as well. I see some of you have been populating those fields, which is great, and we can share those slides afterwards. But if you haven't already done that, I'm just resharing the link, and you need a code, which I think I'm just going to pop in there as well. So menti.com is another way to get there, and the code. And just, there's a few questions. I think there's 7 or 8 slides and a couple of questions, but some of them are asking you, how can we help more? So I see there's a few answers in there already, which is great to see. And also we've started, you can put a little pin on your location so we can start to see that constellation shape. And I know Karim has looked at that already, but it's nice for everyone to get an idea of, building that constellation shape and what sort of icon we're forming between us, which is a cool thing to do. So yeah, Molly, you might share that as well in your follow-up notes, so if people didn't
no
get
problem.
No, all right. Probably. Any more questions? Listen, thanks very much, folks, for taking part in this. It's really exciting. It's the first of its kind, and I think we're hoping that it will be a template for other places to get together through the community and really drive dark skies from the ground up, because that's what it's all about, and that's where the success in the long term is for everyone. So I think you'll enjoy it, and we'll get to do a bit of social as well, and it's a good way to connect and share our knowledge. So thank you very much for taking part.
Yeah, thanks everyone. And if there aren't any further questions, I think we're all good to go.
Thanks very much. Look forward
Thanks,
to
everybody.
Thanks for, great to be
Thanks,
involved.
William.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye for now.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, really exciting.